minister once said to me that, she says, I can feel sick, but when I get up on that pulpit, boy, do I feel good. And then I feel garbagey when I get off. And I go, that's because it's the higher performing, darling. So it's really true. Well, what I wanted to do today, do you all have pencil and paper? Okay, that's all right. But for us to get this rolling, I want the, come on, practitioners, come on up here. Come on, Steph, come on, Lily. I know, if you don't want to come up, that's okay. But anyway, so what we're going to do, oh, we have a few? Bring up, hello, Dolly, come on. Bring up Dolly. Dolly, I know, she may. I mean, she just, you know, dogs are just so beautiful because they're just always joyful, happy, and serving. They serve all the time. Okay, so what we're doing, we're going to talk about science of mind in our teaching, but we have some, if you have questions, so there's some that people have, thank you Denise, there's some that people have written out, and I'm going to either myself or these beautiful ones who have been in this teaching for quite some time, and practitioners, what they have to do, this is the one we always get prac training too. Whoa, this is a good one. Okay, so a few of them have, I don't know, maybe a practitioner wrote this, okay. So, how does religious science explain bad things? Evil, greed, murder, that kind of thing. Who wants to take that puppy on? You. Oh, you want me to do, can make the Rev do that one? Yeah. Okay. We were talking about this.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I think so. So why don't we? So you have, Bev, you have an answer for that?
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, what I say about that is a couple of things. One is that it's all God, it's all good. It may look bad. The perception may be that it's bad, but it's there for a reason. And I know whenever I go through anything that could be considered bad, I'm always looking for what's the good that's going to come out of this. And so I say that it's all happens for a reason, and that there is no evil, and it's all good.
Sure. Yes. Pass it on.
I'm adding on to what you said.
Mm-hmm.
If I think there's no evil, which is what I believe, a lot of times there's human choices that are not helpful.
Ooh.
But more than that, what if we're talking about the drought or the weather or something that's more like nature and not human-oriented? What about those kinds of things? Or some horrible war.
Right.
It's not any one person. I think, well, I'm looking so closely, like under a microscope, at that idea and that problem, and it's so intense when I look at it that way. But if I expand the focus to something larger, oh, well, that happened because we needed, this had to happen. And sometimes that isn't even big enough. Well, I have to expand my vision in more of a God view, huge over eons of time, or huge in universal space. I think, oh, it makes sense in the scheme of a larger focus.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment on that one? Or we could move on. And I'm just gonna say real quick. You know, we look at. We'll get them in a sec. What happened with people dying in the mudslides and all of that. So what I heard in the aftermath is that this has happened before, years ago, and that they will not, and they will not, thanks Denise, they will not, I know, and they will not build there again, because it's happened before, and there's a pathway that the mud and the water go down, and they do not want anybody else to die again. So there's some good that came out of the disaster. It's not good that you want, but at least it's something that there's an awareness now that wasn't there before. Ishay?
Yeah, my perspective on this has been around for a long, long time, and science of mind it just kind of helped put words to it, another set of words to it, and basically it has to do with the idea that everything is God. God is everywhere and in everyone. And if God is love, and if God is truth, and if God is all-powerful, and if God has control over everything, then everything is a part of God. And we have to recognize that and accept that, as has been said earlier, people make choices. One of the greatest things that God gave us was choice. Change and choice are two things that we can't avoid. We make choices even though we don't know we make them. Every step is a choice we make. And so when we choose certain things based on our belief system, God has given us that will to make those choices. And then the thing that I think is overwhelmingly true is divine balance. Light and dark, strong and weak. Those opposing factors look like opposing factors, but it's all one thing, divine balance. And when we can take that into perspective, we see things fitting. We see things as fitting. They may not be fun. Birth is not necessarily fun.
I'll say.
We all went through some issues when we were born, right? And our mothers went through issues when we were born. It's all part of the process. And I believe in that divine process of divine balance in God.
Beautiful.
That's where I am.
Okay, good. Have any comments, Lily, or you want to move on?
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay. In the 40-Day Abundance book, which was our book of the month, oceans of money engulf me. I would like a better, more nurturing, peaceful word than engulf. Any suggestions for me? I like that. Okay, so any suggestions? Another word for engulf? Because the oceans of money engulf me. So what's another word? Surround. Okay.
Bless.
Bless. Oh, that's a good one.
Flow
Okay.
to me.
Flow to me. Support me. Okay, beautiful. Anybody out anybody else, any comments?
Nurture.
Nurture, okay. Oceans of money nurture me, thank you.
Reflect the abundance of the divine
Oh, reflect the abundance of the divine.
in me.
Yeah, in me. Okay, keep the mic, DJ. That's great. Okay, I think that answered that, don't you?
Thank you.
You're welcome. We knew who that
We
was.
knew who it was from.
Oh, wow, this is great. Okay. How do I know if I'm listening to spirit or my own ego mind?
I've asked that question
Wow.
half a dozen
You
times.
asked that?
I've asked that question before. Yeah, that's
Okay.
great. I love to hear it.
Okay, all right. Who wants to answer this?
I'll take a stab at it. First of all, as somebody who studied psychology, ego only means me, I. It's not a negative. What was the rest of the question?
Well, how do you know if it's your ego? In other words, not,
okay.
you know what that's, take it away, ego. How do you know if it's your mind or
Okay.
if you're being guided by the divine or spirit?
Okay, well for me, when I get into the silence and I listen, if it is my mind, it's still God. It's God talking to me, God inspiring me. It's my intuition, which is spirit-filled, and it takes work, I think, to focus on that, to get into that flow, and to stay with it. And I can trust it because I've done the foundation work.
Okay, that's great. Anybody else?
I can say, simply put, for me, if I think about it too much, it's too much in my head. And my experience is that when I get an impulse, if it's strong enough for me to just move, I let that be God. You know? And it always has been beneficial when I do that. And when I think about it a lot and start questioning things, I get confused.
Yeah, I agree. Any of you guys, gals have a comment?
Well, I have to, full disclosure, that was my question. And so I'm going to answer my own question. Sometimes I have to decide, wait a minute, whoa, where is this coming, where is this idea coming from? Is it from my head, or, getting quiet, I think, is it from my heart? Now, sometimes I'll get an insight from spirit when I'm not thinking about any of this stuff, and all of a sudden something, oh, get your mom a Valentine. And I think, well, I was thinking about the dishes in the kitchen. And then I know it's spirit. It comes like out of the blue, and that usually is a divine idea.
Yeah, beautiful.
One thing that I look at is, does it feel good? Does it move me forward? Do I move quickly on it? Does it feel like, yes, I can do this? Or is it, well, are you, like I start questioning God. Are you sure that's what I should do? Or, or it takes me in a different direction than what it feels in my heart and my gut that I should do. So that's
Exactly.
kind of how I check it out.
Exactly.
Can I add one?
Yeah, no, I don't need it.
So one thing too for me is that it's, if it's from spirit, it's real simple. It's real short, it just has a few words. And I thought of that when you said, get your mom a Valentine. It's just real direct.
Yeah, it is real direct. And conversely, have you ever been guided and not followed it? And then, yeah, and then you have a little consequence because of it? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, oh. Oh, what happened, EJ?
Geez, last night, it was so,
I had some really tasty salmon last night, and I put it in the refrigerator for later, and then late at night, early in the morning, I got up and I went to eat that salmon, and I was going into my office, and I opened the door, and it flashed into my head, it's gonna spill. And a second later, poof, it
The cat is happy.
And there goes, oh, he's a salmon. He's good salmon. Okay?
it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I pictured exactly what was gonna happen, like 2 seconds before it happened. And it-
That, I know, exactly.
But that brings up another question.
Okay, so
How do
here.
you know you didn't create that? By that thought?
Exactly.
Your thought created it.
That's okay. I'm
But
saying
so
we
that,
were
but
talking
that's,
about the
yeah,
divine
it could be
policy.
either way, it could be either
It's
way.
come from,
Yeah.
It could be both.
Why do you
What did you just say, Darryl?
She said, what?
What'd you say, Darryl?
Why is that a conflict? It just shows me how the God part of me is so powerful, and God doesn't judge good or bad, like, was it good the salmon spilled or not good? Doesn't matter. You are creative in your thought all the time.
You're a magical,
And
creative
a
human
reminder that
being.
your thoughts create your reality.
Okay,
Okay.
Moving on.
Is that good?
Gotta move on.
Yeah, okay. Denise is always, I told Denise, keep it rolling on, baby. Okay, so somebody wrote, how about diet? So what did you mean by that, Denise?
Meaning, how does the the food and the nutrients or what you take into your body help you your spirituality and your life?
Oh.
I
Okay.
got that.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the life force. The life force in the food that you eat. You want to bless that and thank it for wherever it came from and whatever had to be surrendered so that you could have even a head of broccoli. I mean, that still it was alive until it was picked so that I could have it and eat it. And of course, animals. We bless all that. And I want to do justice to this sacrifice and the life force that has been given to me, so I'll turn it into something beneficial.
I agree. Hold on to that. Okay, so anybody questions? Mel?
No, in context with diet, the words that we choose, the words that we use, they impact our whole being, whether it's ego or you-go or she-go, all this stuff, the chaos and the conflict, it's a wonderful thing that we have today. The change, the opportunity to do all these diets, to do all, and including dying. Oh, that's going to be a wonderful new experience for all the human beings. But you don't necessarily need to look forward to it, you just need to be here now
And enjoy
enjoy
today.
Thank you, Mel.
whatever it is.
And as the three little girls would say, amen.
Amen.
Okay, amen.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's kind of, I guess, putting it back out there. If our life is created from what we believe, then if we believe that that food is going to nourish us, it is, right?
That's right.
So even if you eat something that maybe somebody else would say, oh, that's really bad for you, if you don't believe it's bad for you, then is it?
No.
That's what I
Because
think.
I attest because Art eats whatever the heck he wants, and that man is healthier than most people that eat health food, okay? So I'm just saying, he's a meat potato guy, amen. All right?
My mother smoked for 45 years, and she believed that she would not get lung cancer from smoking. And she didn't. She got lung cancer from something else.
Oh, whoa! Words are powerful. Okay, I don't have any others written out.
That's it.
Anybody else have one?
That was it.
That was it?
Yep.
Okay, we'll take one more question, we're gonna close it out. So any other questions?
Is there a fold one? No, if it's folded, it's a question. There's no more.
Oh, there's no more. Okay, anybody else have a question? And we're gonna close out this segment. Any burning question that you've always wanted to know?
Okay.
None?
No divine impulses?
No divine impulses?
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
How do I quickly forgive myself and move on when I made a choice that I said I wasn't gonna make?
Oh boy, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah. You know what? Go ahead and take that, but I'm just gonna quickly say I did that. I've made some really big errors in my life.
Only us.
Only us. And so what I've had to do was look at it and say, you know, it could have been even worse. So thank goodness it was only that. And the other thing was I needed that in order to learn, to grow, and to have the wisdom to make a better choice later. So that's how, and then even though I'm beating myself up, I turn it over and say, I just turn this over, I surrender it up, and I can't forgive myself, but dear Spirit, forgive me. You know, help me to forgive myself. And that's it.
Now I just go, yep, still human.
Still human. There you go. Go ahead, Lily.
We are each of God, and as such, what?
There are no bad choices.
Well, kind of, but since we are of God, it behooves us to forgive quickly and easily instead of harboring ill will to ourselves.
Exactly.
About forgiveness, which is what this is about. I recognized a while back that, let me put it this way. In my perspective, everybody is basically doing the same thing. We're always looking for the truth. With every choice we make, we may try to justify what we do, even the murderer. Mostly, I think, you can probably address this, but I think they are justifying what they do in some way. And which means they're searching for a divine truth. That's the way I see it. And we're all searching for divine truth. So I recognized if that's what they're doing, and that's what I'm doing, I can forgive them, and I can forgive me.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful. Okay, Diana, you have something to say? A couple
Yeah,
comments,
sometimes
guys?
that choice that I made was made by my inner child or my inner teenager. And it's good for me to go back and say, you know, when you were feeling that, you were doing the best you could. And
That's
we're gonna
right.
try to do better.
That's right, and that's the
Because
way
it works for us.
we reparent ourselves. That's really, really beautiful. Okay, George and then Joanne. You want a mic run?
I think forgiveness is one of the most difficult things we have to practice.
I agree. Forgiveness is one of the most difficult
I
things
think
we have.
forgiveness is one of the most difficult things for people to do for others and ourselves. So, in order to do that, you have to practice it like I have to practice piano every day.
Right.
You know,
That's
I mean, you
true.
have to practice forgiveness. And then when it comes to the time when you have to forgive yourself, then you can do it because you've practiced it.
Good point.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Okay, and then Joanne.
And then we're moving on.
Okay, and then and she's wrapping us up, so we'll finish with Joanne.
So, well, I've worked a lot with this, especially for 13 years with prisoners who have, most of them have life sentences. So that's the biggest thing we teach them, is forgive, but not forgive, self-forgiveness is the
Right.
biggest thing, because you can't forgive somebody else unless you forgive yourself. And coming back to Darrell Lynn, some words you can use that I just learned to practice it, just memorizing. But what I heard you say, Darrell Lynn, is, tell me again what, it was a judgment about yourself that you did something,
Poor choice.
you made a poor choice.
Right.
So the word would be, I forgive myself for judging myself as not doing it right. When the truth is, I did the best I could in the moment.
Exactly.
So if you memorize some of those words, I forgive myself for judging myself as not doing it right.
Oh,
Sounds good.
And if
That's
you really repeat that, it changes the chemistry in your heart.
yeah, it does.
And all
That's
this
beautiful.
talk is about duality, really, which we talk about in Kundalini Yoga. Come to my class
So
yesterday, I
Joanne,
talked about.
after service, write that down for me, and
Yeah, I
then we'll
will.
give it out.
I have a lot of those, that's
Okay,
my
then,
book.
you know what?
Anyway, but the
That'll be
duality is the ego mind, our mind and our heart. So when we have too much analyzing, like Ije said, it means that we have too much duality. We're living in the future rather than
Right.
present and listening to our heart.
And not in the moment. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was awesome. We need to do this more often, because I love the wisdom of everybody here. It's so great. Because I get bored, so I like hearing all of you. All right, thank you. All right, so we have a song from George. Yay, what are you gonna sing, George?
Well, you'll find out.
Yay, something fun, something good.